best boxing content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the brand new MGM Grand at Foxwoods here in Mashantucket, Connecticut, we welcome you to the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by DiBella Entertainment, Hennessy Sports, and Showtime. Sponsored by the Palm Restaurant, the classic American Steakhouse. This bout is sanctioned by the WBC President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor Roy Van Putten, along with the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation Athletic Division. The chairman is George Henningsen, Vice Chairman Kenny Reels, the director is Peter Timothy. Our physicians at ringside, Dr. Anthony Alessi, Dr. Michael Rajkumar, and Dr. Mark Gutman, and our timekeeper at the bell is Phyllis Roy. Introducing our three judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Mexico, Omar Mintun. From Japan, Nobuaki Uratani. And from Canada, Jack Woodburn. Our third man of the ring, our referee in charge of this bout, is Michael Ortega. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the MGM Grand at Foxwoods, it's showtime! Introducing to you first, the challenger on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with silver trim, trimmed in the U.S. flag. Hailing from Little Rock, Arkansas, he weighed in at a trim and ready 166 pounds. His record, 28 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw, with 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the 2000 Olympic bronze medalist, the current WBC #1 ranked contender, and the former undisputed middleweight champion of the world, known as Bad Intentions, introducing Jermain. Across the ring on my left, the defending world champion, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks trimmed in the Union Jack. He proudly represents his home of Nottingham, England. He weighed in at 167 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 24 wins, no losses, 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former British and Commonwealth champion, tonight making the first defense of his world crown, introducing the undefeated WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the World, introducing Carl, the Cobra Froch. Once again, 12 rounds of championship boxing scheduled. Our referee in charge now to give instructions is Michael Ortega.
Okay, Jermain. Gentlemen, we went over the rules. Want a good, clean fight? Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up.
And before the first bell, let's give you the results of our poll question. We asked you to predict how Carl Froch, undefeated and never knocked down, would fare in tonight's fight against Jermain Taylor. And here's how you voted.
Well, the fascinating thing is, obviously, this is a pro-Taylor crowd texting, and the most amazing thing is they think Froch is going down and losing.
Carl Froch taking the biggest gamble of his career. If he wins, he becomes part of boxing's elite. If he loses, he goes back home with nothing. Jermain Taylor, a must-win fight. If he wins, he's right back in the spotlight. But if he loses, his luster will be tarnished, and he has to go to the back of the line. Round 1, scheduled for 12.
Carl Froch winked at Jermain Taylor when he walked out. He is a confident man, Carl Froch. And early on, the battle of the jab will be very interesting for these two fighters.
Taylor missing with the wild left hook. Froch feels that he's a natural super middleweight. Nice right hand by Taylor. Straight on the chin of Froch.
This fight is going to be decided by whether Froch can take those right hands early in this fight. We knew he was going to get hit with right hands, but it happened only a few seconds into the fight. He has a granite chin, does Carl Froch, but does he have a granite chin against Jermain Taylor? We're going to find out.
Froch taking his time so far. At age 31, he's a 7-year pro. And he's coming off a win over Jean Pascal December of 2008. But to go back to my point, he feels that he's a natural super middleweight. Walks around at 172. He feels he's the bigger, stronger man that can take a better punch as Jermain Taylor comes up in weight.
He's already taken some big right hands from Taylor. Froch has stopped throwing his jab. Neither man's really using it right now. They started out using it very effectively. There's already some redness on the nose of Froch.
Flozell Adams, Taylor's trainer, wants him to start boxing again, just like he did when he was an amateur and won a bronze medal at the Sydney Olympics. Establish your jab, work angles, make sure that you allow your right hand time to be set up, as opposed to going for knockouts right away.
Now Taylor's starting to use the jab himself. It's been a very precise round so far for Jermain Taylor, and Froch has had a hard time landing.
Froch goes to the body. And a lot of redness on the bridge of the nose of Froch. He continues to eat jab after jab.
Now understand, this is a fight in 2 parts. Almost everybody expected Taylor to start out well and do well early. But, big right by Froch. But can Jermain Taylor sustain this in the second half of the fight? We'll get to that later.
Jermain Taylor has had stamina problems in his career. After 5 rounds, 6 rounds, he has waned. He did it against Bernard Hopkins, Kelly Pavlik, even did it most recently against Jeff Lacey, doing a lot of holding from round 6 on, especially when the fight went inside. Froch patient, and I would imagine that he wants to see how hard of a puncher the 166-pound Taylor is.
And he's gotten a little taste of it so far.
Short left hook on a pivot by Taylor. And that's the end of the first round. The feeling out process did not take long.
Okay, listen to me. Listen, you're half asleep that round. You've got to be sharper on the jab. Don't wait on him. If you're not ready to punch, just move round, okay? You're listening to me. You're listening to me. You're with me? Yeah, let's get this jab and right hand working now and shorten your rock up. Move side
Good
to side.
advice, Robert McCracken, about using the jab. Now, Taylor landed this right hand right off the get-go. That was 15 or 20 seconds into the fight after a jab. And then later on in the round, Carl Froch was able to get that right hand home and push Taylor back. Not as good as Taylor's, but Taylor tested him early with that right hand. And boy, Robert McCracken gave the greatest advice to use the jab.
McCracken, a 10-year pro, took a 33-0 record with 20 KOs into his only world title fight versus WBC middleweight champion Keith Holmes in 2000, and he was TKO'd in the 11th round. He finished with a 33-2 record. Round 2. Let's see if Froch becomes busier, especially with his jab.
You know, Gus, that's almost exactly the way most people that look at this fight, the boxing pundits, would have expected round 1 to go.
Froch told us, though, that he has no problems being patient because he would like, if he can't get something early, to take Jermain Taylor into deep water because of his reputation as being a fighter that has stamina problems as the fight continues.
You know, Jermain was brutally honest with us. He admitted that he's cut corners in training, not eating right, and he said there have been in many of his fights times where he was literally buying time, trying to pace himself, but he said that's all over now. So we're going to find out if this fight goes on, whether it is all over. Froch said, you know what, animals don't change their stripes.
Taylor, though, looks much more relaxed than we've seen him in the past. As you mentioned, he sometimes comes into fights very tight, but it looks like he has terrific rhythm to start. That left hook blocked by Froch.
Jermain Taylor is a very skillful fighter, always has been. He has every offensive tool. And when he uses them, he's a tough guy to handle in the ring. Nice hook by Froch, a counter left hook against Taylor.
First title defense for Froch after defeating Jean Pascal to take the vacant WBC crown. Pascal was undefeated, a Canadian from Montreal, and that was a war of a fight. A lot of big punches landed.
Froch is not getting off very well with his punches. He's not landing his jab, and he has a great jab. There's the uppercut. Now that's a key punch for him to try and land, but when he throws it from too far out, Froch can be countered with it.
Froch has to be careful because when he comes in with both of his hands down. And that means he'd be able to be lined up for a nice short left hook.
Don't pull him by the neck. Don't pull him.
23 seconds remaining in the second round scheduled for 12. The WBC super middleweight championship. Froch trying to get through with a right hand.
And he did land a very nice right hand there. Didn't do much damage to Taylor.
Now Taylor and Froch mixing it up a bit at the end of the second round. Taylor throws a big right hand.
All right, baby, what do you see? Hey, Jermain, go toward his jab and you hit that right hand every time, okay? Stop, mix up you going around toward his right hand. Go toward his jab hand. Go toward his jab hand. You just stay right. same hand you jab though. You're looking good. You're in good shape. Keep that right hand tight. You don't have to load up. Keep it tight. Keep it short. Working move, and then let's be busy. Down the middle and short hooks, and when you're there underneath straight away. Don't go wide with nothing, okay? On it. Yeah, you've nicked that one. It's one apiece, but I need you busier now. Let's start taking the fight out of them, but don't pull out. Get these gloves up and use these gloves to block, all right?
Jermain Taylor coming off a decisive 12-round decision against former IBF super middleweight world champion Jeff Lacey in his last fight, November of 2008 in Tennessee. That fight was a WBC super middleweight title eliminator and earned him the WBC's #1 ranking and an opportunity at Froch.
They just had a clash of heads there a moment ago, and that's the one thing we really don't want to see in this fight, because this is obviously already shaping up as a very interesting and I think exciting fight potentially, and you just don't want a clash of heads that would create a cut.
Taylor blocking that 1-2, also blocking that lead right uppercut. Froch with no rhythm.
You know, Froch is one of the few fighters that gets away with throwing that uppercut from so far out. Doesn't often get countered, but he's facing a man who's a much better counterpuncher than the people he's been facing.
Biggest test of his career, Froch against Jermain Taylor, who defeated one of the greatest fighters in the world twice, Bernard Hopkins, to take his middleweight belt, and then came back and lost 2 consecutive fights to Kelly Pavlik to have the belts taken away from him. Froch trying to get through. Oh, nice right hand by Taylor. That backed up Froch, but Froch steps right back
with Jean Pascal. That's an important moment in this fight because Taylor hurt him. Taylor can't really go in after him now because he got nailed with a big right hand when he came in.
Froch blocks the left hook. Froch starting to get his confidence now. Taylor continues to pop the jab.
Oh my!
Froch on the ropes. He may be hurt. Froch backing up. Taylor moving in. Froch is hurt. Right hand, and Froch goes down.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You won. All right, let's go.
It's the first time he's been knocked down in his career. 26 seconds left. Can Taylor finish him? Taylor has him wounded.
Remember the Kelly Pavlik fight where Taylor did not finish it and it came back to haunt him.
10 seconds. And Froch, another right hand left hook. Froch wobbly. And that's the end of the round. Bad intentions. One of the best rounds
Give me the ice pack.
for Taylor
Listen to me.
in quite some
Legs
time.
out. You had that round under control and then you went in for a big shot and left yourself wide open. Listen to me. You've got to get tidier. You're coming out and you're pulling your head up and you're sticking your chin in the air and he's just coming back at you over the top. Yeah, because you're loading up and you're looking for big shots and you're pulling out with your chin in the air. You've got to get your chin down, you've got to move your head and you've got to get these gloves up after you punch. He's punching back. You've got to block and parry.
Jermain Taylor landed some hellacious right hands. Now there's the right hand in which Froch would come back with his own right hand. So at that point, Froch had things together. But as Froch bull rushed him, which Robert McCracken told him he did carelessly, and he did, a right hand lands from Jermain Taylor and sends Froch to the canvas.
Chin down and stop
Froch
loading
knocked
up.
down
Come
for
on.
the first time in his career. Now we will see what he's made of. Undefeated at 24-0. Carl Froch has to dig deep now because the man standing on the opposite side of the ring is a true champion.
Now, I would go back to the script that people thought about this fight, and even with that dramatic round by Jermain Taylor, it bears repeating. Most expected him to have a very good portion in the first part of this fight. Can he sustain it?
Let him up. Back.
Now the Froch jab starting to become a little bit of a factor. He has an excellent jab when he uses
Don't
it.
backhand.
Taylor would love to come over that jab, though, because it's so low. He's rolling it back. Come over that jab with the right hand. Froch's Taylor made for it there. He barely misses. Left hand by Taylor.
Now right there, that was a left uppercut that Froch was throwing, and Taylor countered it.
Round 4 scheduled for 12. Jermain Taylor, the challenger in the black trunks. Carl Froch, the Englishman and champion in the black and red trunks. His nickname is the Cobra. First title defense for Froch, who won a bronze medal at the World Championships as an amateur. One of the biggest moments of his career in Belfast, England. Had over 100 amateur fights.
You know, Jermain Taylor's defense in this fight has been excellent, and you could easily overlook that. He has blocked a lot of punches, slipped punches, and made it very hard for Froch to hit him.
Under a minute to go in the 4th round. Taylor. Very relaxed through 4 so far.
You know, Jermain Taylor has not scored a knockout since 2005, which is a fairly long drought. Now, during that time, he's fought nothing but champions or former champions. So he's had a tremendous,
Punches in front, don't hit behind, okay?
tremendously good list of opponents in front of him.
Hey, don't watch that elbow. Keep that elbow in.
Uppercut blocked by Froch.
Hey, let him out. Let him out. Step back. Step back.
Under 10 seconds to go in the 4th round. Scheduled for 12. Froch, Taylor, and they are banging.
Time.
You've got to block his right jab, all right? You understand me? You've got to work the jab and you've got to block his jab and that right over the top, so you've got to have the gloves up. Put your legs out. Listen. You've had a bad start, but now you're into the groove with this jab. But you've got to put your stuff together. 1, 2 up, little movements. Double jab right hand and back him up when you can, but just don't force it. Okay?
When he tries the uppercut, Carl Froch, he leaves himself open now. He will throw this uppercut and get countered with a strong jab by Jermain Taylor. Remember when we did the keys to victory? We showed you with Froch hurting an opponent with that left uppercut. This time he tried the same thing and got countered.
Bust him with the jab and the right hand left hook comes off it when it's there. Don't force anything. Don't load up with nothing.
Unofficially, press row scoring. Chris Givens, Niall Hickman, and Jack Obermeyer.
And I have it 40-35 for Jermain Taylor. So I agree with the 1 score.
Round 5 scheduled for 12. The WBC super-middleweight championship of the world. Carl Froch in the black and red trunks. Jermain Taylor in the black, red, white, and blue trunks. Taylor knocking down Froch in the 3rd round. Taylor establishing his jab. As we start the 5th, it's been wicked. He's been working on angles, doing a nice job stepping off the line, making Froch miss.
And Gus, they want him to do even more of that. They told him in the corner to get out of the pocket quicker. They don't want him standing right in front of Froch even a little bit. Well, that was a hellacious left hook, although Froch thought it was low.
Now Froch goes to the body. Ozell Nelson telling Jermain Taylor that he wants him to sit down on his punches, especially when he goes inside, meaning bend his knees and really stick that left hook into Froch. They've worked on it in the gym a lot during camp. Jermain Taylor telling us that he's recommitted himself to boxing. He missed the spotlight. He missed being a world champion. During the Lacey fight, at the press conference, he said there were only 2 cameras there, and those were throwaways. And at the press conference at Gallagher's Steakhouse in New York earlier this week, it was jam-packed. Media sources from all around the world, and he said, this is what I want to get back to.
Well, so far in this fight, he's doing it, although Froch is having a little bit better round 5, but Taylor is fighting a purposeful, effective fight.
Jab very effective for Taylor. In the 5th round, he's been doubling it up.
Let him up. Let him up.
You know, a big issue in this match is hand speed. Carl Froch just has been a smidge slower than Jermain Taylor, and that's why he's missing those right hands that he throws. Taylor's been able to slip them.
Hey, guys, listen up on the break. Listen up, all right? Say break, step back. Step back.
Ooh, nice left hooks by Jermain Taylor. Although Mike Ortega tells him to keep him up. Looks like they were right on the belt line.
Here's one of the rare combinations from Carl Froch. When he punches in combination, he's much more effective, of course.
But the question is Carl Froch laying in the weeds and waiting for this fight to evolve, to see where Taylor is conditioning-wise, if he can go 6 through 12 with the same kind of intentions.
I want you to bend them freaking knees, and that's both sides of the body. Both sides. And come out on the side. Don't pop up, back up in the middle. Both sides, back up to his head, step over to the side. Okay, but stay behind your jab.
Jermain Taylor going downstairs with a big left hook that landed, well, that one did land below the belt line, as you can see. So that one I think Carl Froch had a case that one landed a little low. I don't think it was intentional by Taylor. He was just trying to go to the body, but it did land a smidge low.
Jermain Taylor, the former undisputed middleweight champion of the world, moving up to 168 from 160.
Keep it clean. All right, Carl, let's keep it clean. Let's go.
First title defense. Taylor telling us that after losing to Kelly Pavlik twice, he had to sit down, reevaluate his career, and what came out was that he wanted something again. He wanted to be a world champ. And back in the back of his mind, remember when he told us, Al, in the darkest part of his mind, he wants Kelly Pavlik again because he feels that he's better than Kelly Pavlik and he can beat him if given another opportunity.
That's one of those challenges still out there. And many wondered if he would be, nice jab by Taylor as a counterpunch. Many wondered, could Jermain Taylor be hungry again? He said, I'm hungry to win a title, and I think the other thing he's hungry for is to try and beat Pavlik. Now, they told Froch in his corner to use the jab, the 1-2, and be busier, and he's having a hard time doing those things.
Taylor, nice right hand by Froch.
That's
another right hand by Froch. And that backs up Taylor.
That's as good a right hand, I think, as Carl Froch can throw.
Remember, Froch has been down. He went down in the third round as Taylor scored a right hand to drop the world champion. Sixth round, though, scheduled for 12. Both fighters exchanging stiff jab.
You know, Robert McCracken shows you why he's a good trainer. He told Froch to throw the jab, the straight right hand, and by golly, he did it and it worked.
Froch now finding a rhythm. He looks like his confidence is starting to grow. He's found his range. Taylor coming over the top.
Now, Froch may or may not be winning this round, though there's time still to do it. But he's certainly having his best round of the fight, I think.
I would agree. Under a minute to go in round number 6. And you just wonder, in the back of Taylor's mind, is he saying, can I get through 12? Do I have the gas?
Let's go. Step back.
And Gus, you and I both were struck with his honesty about past fights in which he said, it was in my mind every second. And here we are in round 6, and there's a slight discernible difference in which Froch is doing better.
Haunting memories for Jermain Taylor.
Step back, step out, step out. Now watch your head. Watch your head inside, both of you guys.
Round 6, a much closer round. Could go either way.
Left hook by Froch, connecting. He blocks Taylor's jab. Taylor, nice work at the end of the round.
That's it.
I'm sorry, guys. Still got to get some body work inside. So that whole, you don't have to stay out there with us. He the one that's getting busted up.
How'd you like that? Calm down. Left hook? See you right there? Yes, sir. Okay, double that right hand. Next time you hit him with that right hand, double it. Yes, sir. Once every time, doesn't it?
Carl Froch finally was able to get the right hand, and the jab sets up that very good straight right hand. Taylor took this punch very well. I mean, this is a beauty. And again, the jab, the key to that punch landing. And at the end of the round, Jermain Taylor trying to rally as they both exchanged kind of a wild punches.
Halfway through this title fight, the champion, Carl Froch, needs to rally if he wants to keep his belt. Froch in the black and red trunks. Jermain Taylor in the black, red, white, and blue trunks.
And remember, Froch was down in round 3. And if there is a criticism of Jermain Taylor that it'd be hard for him to dispute, it is that he is not a great finisher. He has knocked people down among his upper echelon opponents, but not been able to finish them. And so far, that's true in this fight with Froch when he had him in trouble with a little bit left in the round.
Most of those punches blocked by Taylor. Taylor's defense has been excellent tonight.
Yeah, the only round in which Froch was able to land a series of good punches was round 6, and that was when he went straight up the middle on Taylor and didn't throw those wide punches.
Doubling up the jab, Taylor connecting.
And you know, that right hand that landed in round 6, which was a great right, and there's another one. The question will be, could those right hands have more impact in round 9 or 10? We'll probably get a chance to find out. Froch is getting that right in again.
Froch has not gone to the body in this fight. Ozell Nelson, Taylor's trainer, telling him he wants to throw shots to the body. Nice stiff jab by Taylor. Backing up.
Both men are more effective with the jab this round. I mean, they're both doing a very good job with that punch.
Step back.
Left hook by Taylor. Knocks Froch off balance.
One of the things in this fight is that Taylor has a more diversified attack than Carl Froch. The left hook is a perfect example. His left hook much better than Froch.
Once upon a time, Jermain Taylor was considered the future of the 160-pound division. He lived up to the expectations for all intents and purposes.
He really did to a great extent. You know, he beat a legend of Bernard Hopkins, defended the title several times, and lost to a very good champion in Kelly Pavlik.
Froch trying to rally at the end of the 7th round.
Hey, got him behind the head. Be careful.
And that's it.
Listen, son. You've just got to keep working him with that jab, and your right hand will come off it, okay? Your right hand's going to come off it. Chin down and bend your knees when he punches back, okay? They'll go over the top, but if you pull out and stand up tall, he'll catch you back. Use your right glove to block his jab, okay? Not now and again, because he'll jab you every now and again for no reason, okay? Ice bag on his head. Right glove to block his jab. How are we doing? Oh, suck the paw, his jab hand. Keep him turning.
Punch move is beautiful, okay? That double right hand will work, and the body shots will work.
Well, McCracken talked about using the right hand to block the jab of Taylor because he keeps his left hand so low. There is the jab that they're talking about. He does not bring his right hand over. If you keep your left hand low, like Carl Froch does, you need to employ the same defense Kenny Norton and Archie Moore used to use. Bring your right glove over to block your face. He doesn't really do that.
That's the crab, or as Archie Moore would call it, the mongoose. Round 8 scheduled for 12. For the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World, Jermain Bad Intentions Taylor.
Step back clean.
Former undisputed world champion at 160 pounds. He's been in wars. Bernard Hopkins twice, Kelly Pavlik, Winky Wright, Corey Spinks. Now Carl Froch as he moves up to 168. Froch from Nottingham, England, making his first title defense.
There's a change in this fight. Froch is getting that right hand in. He is starting, I think, to make an impact with Jermain Taylor. I really do.
Is Taylor slowing down? Froch,
oh yeah,
hit Taylor with a looping right hand. Taylor stumbled. I don't know if he tripped, but he did stumble.
From Taylor's perspective, I think he needs to do something offensive right now.
And here's the record for Jermain Taylor and Froch, past 7 rounds.
And mind you, they both have very good records. And Froch, of course, obviously undefeated, has never lost. It's not as if Taylor has been bad in the last part of fights. It's just he's not as good as he is early in fights. So he's gotten wins, but this round 8 is a perfect example. Froch is winning this round, and Jermain looks like he's buying time.
Nice stiff jab by Froch. Taylor.
Froch has a problem with his right eye. He's kind of blinking out of it.
Taylor not as busy. Double jab by Froch. Taylor waiting. He may have been hit with something, Al, and he's trying to clear his head.
Yeah, I think he was, Gus. I think those right hands early that Froch landed in this round did stun Jermain.
Taylor backing up. He hasn't backed up. Now he's on his toes. Taylor is foggy. He's trying to clear his head and buy time. Froch continues to come forward.
Carl Froch is a different fighter when he uses the jab.
Don't grab him behind the head, okay? Second time. Let's go.
Froch coming on now.
I hope Michael Ortega doesn't take any points away.
Nice left hook by Taylor.
Carl Froch should just keep doing jabs, straight right hands, and come forward. That's what he's got to do in this fight.
Well, Jermain Taylor has that high guard. Froch trying to get this right cross through. Taylor putting his punches together at the end of the round. Trying to steal it. They butt heads. And wow, Jermain Taylor with an answer.
Too big for no reason. Sit down. You're loading up. That's the only time he's catching you now. You're loading up for no reason. Put your legs out. You're getting on top and then you load up and letting it. You ain't got him. You've got to box him. You've got to listen to what I'm telling you. You ain't got him. You've got to box him because anything big is going to count you. You've got to listen to what I'm telling you. Every time you load up, he hits you back and makes you look silly. You was controlling the round there and you let him nick it at the end because you opened up with big swings.
That's 10 I thought. Have a go.
Listen to me, son. I'm telling you, just keep boxing.
Robert McCracken is so right. When Froch got all off balance and threw these ugly shots, that's when Jermain Taylor was able to use his hand speed to get him. And that left uppercut was a monstrous punch by Jermain Taylor. And that shook Froch at the end of the round and made Jermain Taylor pretty animated about what he did.
Watch behind the head now.
Round 9.
But that was a Froch round.
Scheduled for 12. Froch in black with the British flag, Taylor in black with the U.S. flag.
I don't think Carl Froch should throw another left hook for the rest of this fight. I mean, I wouldn't even try. I'd throw jabs, straight right hands, and nothing else, because that's what's working. And I sure wouldn't throw any uppercuts.
I'd love to see Froch try to change up his right hand instead of throwing it as a right cross. Taylor's guard is so high, if he could loop it around, he may find some success.
The pace of this fight has slowed a little bit here, primarily because Jermain Taylor is kind of pacing himself right now, and Froch doesn't want to attack wildly.
Taylor looks like he has plenty of gas. Continue to pop. He continues to pop his jab, and it's scoring big for him. Continuing to block most of Froch's shots. Now he goes to the body.
Now that uppercut was okay for Froch to throw because he was close to Taylor, and he almost landed it. Taylor's jab's been very effective in this round, but Froch has landed some very good punches as well. It's a really interesting tactical fight.
Now Froch trying to lean in with that right hand. Some redness in the left eye of Froch. Also, it's starting to swell up a bit. Taylor, left hook, right hand combination.
The problem for Carl Froch is that these rounds, starting from round 6, have been pretty close rounds. I've given him 2 of the 3, Gus, and this one's up for grabs. But his problem is he may have dug such a hole for himself in this fight that it's going to be tricky for him to come back.
Hey, sit back. Watch your shoulder coming in.
And from round 6 through round 9 here, these are pivotal rounds in terms of how the judges are scoring it.
Froch trying to jump on Taylor now, pins him on the ropes.
Right. Step back. Watch your heads, guys. Watch your head. Pull your head back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Let's go
19 seconds to go in the 9th round. Taylor. A lot of gas in the tank, folks. He said he'd been eating well, sleeping well, training well. And it looks like it so far.
And you've got to move making this and you've got to go back to him. Do you understand me?
I'm not going to do that, is it?
Yeah, but you've got to be busier. You can't let him hit you with the eye-catching punches and steal the round. We're not doing any work. You've got to be really busy and you've got to shorten them up underneath, okay? Yeah. Listen, we need big rounds here, okay? Because of that knockdown and 1 or 2 rounds, you're probably 2 or 3 down.
Okay.
Come on, babe.
This middle and keep your output up better.
I want them bells. Come on, come on. Let's go ahead and work then.
Okay.
Let's go out and work then. Let's work.
Who rounds it? This is 10th round right now.
Chris Givens from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Noel Hickman from the UK Daily Express. Jack Overmeyer from Boxing Digest have Taylor in front comfortably.
Well, one has him comfortably, 2 pretty close, and I have an 87-83 along with Givens. But I don't know if Robert McCracken's that far off. Because there were a couple down. They might only be a couple down. Froch has done a lot of work in these recent rounds, and now he's going after Jermain Taylor again.
Froch starting to loop that right hand.
When Froch is busy and pushes Taylor back, he's putting Jermain in a defensive posture in which Taylor is not counterpunching now.
Right hand scoring for Froch, backs Taylor up again.
Not much punching coming from Jermain Taylor here in the beginning of this round. Froch is winning the battle of the jab now. Taylor's jab, when he throws it, it's very effective and it's hard, but Froch is throwing more. See, there's a good one from Taylor, but that's the only one he's thrown really the whole round.
Combination punching by Froch. Most of those blocked by Taylor, but some getting through.
Well, this is a Carl Froch round right now, so whether he needs a knockdown to get him back in this fight or winning all these rounds remaining can do it, he's giving himself a start here in round 10 anyway, because he is dominating the round.
That's right, Taylor.
Step back, Jermain. Step back. Step back. Step back.
Giving a lot of ground to Froch in the 10th round. Right hand connecting by Taylor, and he doubled up the jab as he stepped back. A Froch right back at him.
And Robert McCracken made the point. Oh, nice right by Froch. Taylor lands what he called eye-popping punches, and that could negate all the good work Froch does over the course of the round. But this round, this has been the single best round of Froch in the fight.
Froch starting to go around Taylor's high guard. Taylor lead right hand, gets through.
And that time Froch did something interesting. He slipped one of Taylor's punches. She doesn't always do.
Froch does have a great chin. Left hook connecting for Taylor. That buckled Froch.
I think the left hooks have been the most powerful punches for Jermain Taylor. He landed some really nice right hands early, and one of those rights put Froch down. I think the lefts have hurt him too.
Froch going down in the 3rd round.
Stay off his neck. Stay off his neck. Time.
the jab and you've got to work him, but you've got to have your chin down because you come back with the odd counter over the top. You're listening to me. We've got to have 2 big rounds behind the jab. 1, 2 hooks, and then you get the movement, your body and head, all right? Side to side, okay? But you've got to have the gloves up for what comes back and bend your knees. Move your head and use your feet, okay? Don't stay in front of him after you've punched, yeah? Listen, he's conning his way through it now. He's going to open up now and again, and then he's going to look. You have to let your hands go, Jermain.
It's just real simple.
Keep going, fight. This is it. You got to head
If you win these 6 minutes, it's out.
All right, let's move. 6 minutes, okay? Got the head.
Round number 11 scheduled for 12. And according to the press, this fight is getting closer and closer.
I have it 96-93, of course. We saw the British reporter had a draw at this juncture. And 2 of the other press row scores had Taylor winning. Froch has taken control right now in terms of the will. He's imposing his will on Jermain Taylor right now.
Froch trying to get loose. Much more active.
If you look at the body language of the 2 fighters, it's clear Carl Froch, oh, there's that good uppercut, and he's got a good one. It's clear that he thinks he can push ahead in these rounds. And Jermain is not punching very much.
As usual, Jermain got off to a great start in the first 5 rounds. There's a big looping right hand by Froch that landed right on the button.
You know, Gus, you said something earlier, and I was almost going to take issue with you about the overhand right, and I didn't, and you were right. When he loosens that right hand a little bit and takes it around, it's helping Carl Froch. It really is. Because he was landing it up the middle, but then it did start getting blocked, and then looping it really helped it. So look, you won our first dispute.
That's all right. Some blood coming out of the nose of Taylor. Uppercut by Froch. Double uppercut. Now Taylor wants to hold on. Jermain Taylor, ghosts of past losses are starting to creep into his head. But look at him come back and put together a combination. Left hook by Taylor. He's digging deep.
This is looking like a Jean Pascal fight that Froch had.
Froch to the body. Taylor blocks the left hook. Uppercut, right hand, Froch pouring it on. He wants to keep this title and take it back to England and become a superstar in his country. Taylor pivoting with the jab. Taylor right hand chopping down. They're giving and they're taking. Round 11.
The uppercuts by both men have been fantastic to add to all those other punches.
Taylor with the right hand. 25 seconds remaining in the 11th. Wild can opener by Taylor.
Let's go. Step back. Step back.
Jermain may be running out of gas.
But he's still throwing bombs, but I don't know if he's landing as many important punches as Froch in this round. That's the question the judges will have to answer. It's Froch coming forward. Oh, that was an excellent and exciting round.
You've got to have this round. You've got to have this round and you'll win the fight, okay? You've got to have it big, though, behind the jab and the combinations. Do me a favour, don't swing and load up because you'll hit your back, all right? Are you with?
Carl Froch coming around the guard, something Gus talked about, and landing a big right hand early in the round. Jermain Taylor was not ready to concede this round, rallying with that monstrous uppercut. Both men landed great uppercuts in the round, and then Froch coming back. But Jermain Taylor having good moments in the middle of that round. Was it enough to get him the round? I don't think so.
So according to Press Row, the winner of the 12th round wins this fight.
How bad do you want?
And I have it a 2-point fight for Taylor, but it could easily be a draw or a 1-point fight, perhaps, for Carl Froch at this point. Many close rounds in the middle of this. I gave round 7 to Froch. That's the difference.
Round 12 for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship of the World. Carl Froch, the Englishman, wants to retain it. Jermain Taylor, the former undisputed middleweight champion, wants to take it. Taylor with some crisp punching to start the round. Now Froch backs him up, and Taylor holds on.
This fight has gone exactly according to the script we laid out. The beginning part was Jermain Taylor controlling. The last part is Carl Froch coming back like all get out.
Heavy punches by Froch. The looping right hand has been effective for Froch. Right hand staggers. Taylor's in trouble. Froch pouring it on. Taylor, he's ready to go. A minute 45 to go. Froch closing in. Carl Froch gambling everything. His first defense on foreign soil against the former undisputed champ, and he's got him on the ropes.
And remember, if he doesn't knock Jermain Taylor down in this round and they don't give him a 10-8, it might still go to Jermain Taylor. Taylor needs to stay on his feet if he can.
Taylor holding on. He ran out of gas. Froch, does he have it in him? Froch, Taylor staggering. They're ready to stop it. Froch, Taylor still on his feet. Under a minute to go. Froch again. Taylor, wild lunging punches, and he backs him up. Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab, eats a right hand, another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness! 30 seconds left. Can the former world champion hold on? Taylor in trouble. Froch punches and punches, and it's over. I'm going back to England, Mom, and I'm keeping my title. Carl Froch shocks the boxing world as he stops Jermain Taylor in the 12th round. What a fight!
Not only did this fight live up to expectations, it went according to the plan Carl Froch would have expected, and those people that supported him would have expected. He came back in the second half of this fight after a terrible beginning in the first 5, and for this man, Jermain Taylor, what a terrific disappointment.
In the end,
Dude, you almost did it. You pulled it out
Jermain
like a champ.
Taylor
Come on.
ran out of gas.
Sure did.
Congratulations to Carl Froch, who said that he took this fight because he wanted to receive international acknowledgement by fighting tough fights.
No, Josh, check your videos, my friend. Think I could have left it later. What was the score? I don't know why I didn't believe in myself. Come on. I just didn't believe in myself early on. Cheers, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you.
It was an astonishing 12th round. Taylor had been in trouble most of the round, but if there had been no knockdown, there was concern that he'd still be in trouble about a decision. That knockdown is what gave Carl Froch, even if this fight had ended, a good chance to win the fight. But as you can see, Jermain Taylor hurt bad enough that Carl Froch realized, I have a very good chance of ending this fight, which of course is important depending on how the scores would have been. We take a look again at the knockdown. Jabs and right hands were the key. That is what ultimately did in Jermain Taylor. Taylor was able to give him credit, stay up at this juncture. That's astonishing. Because he was getting hit with some monstrous punches. And give Carl Froch credit for giving himself distance to punch. He didn't get himself so caught up to get so close to Jermain Taylor that he didn't give himself distance to punch. That was, I think, the key in him ending up stopping Taylor in this fight. And this is the end of the fight, with Ortega looking on very carefully. See, Froch gives himself enough room to punch. He doesn't smother his punches and just keeps punching, and ultimately the fight is stopped. What a dramatic ending and what an astonishing performance by Carl Froch.
And based on the scorecards, if Jermain Taylor could have stood up and finished the fight, he would have won. Let's go inside the ring where Jimmy Lennon Jr. is standing by.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes 46 seconds in round number 12. Our referee in charge, Michael Ortega, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of spectacular knockout. He is still undefeated and still the WBC super middleweight champion of the world, Carl the Cobra Froch.
Michael, don't leave.